with me on this. Going off of what the pastor said, you don't have to go to a different country to be on a mission trip. There's neighborhoods down your street, down in neighboring cities. A lot of neighborhoods in Jacksonville could use just people going there, loving on the children and stuff. So you can be a missionary anywhere. You don't have to go to a different country or get on a plane and go somewhere. You can go right down your street. It could be anywhere. It could be in America, because we all know America needs help too. So you don't have to go to a third world country. Leading up to this trip, I could tell there was a lot of things that were going on with people that were also going on a trip with me. My good friend Brian Hahn, who we all call Hahn, he actually didn't get his passport until the day in Miami that we were leaving from Miami to Dominican Republic. It wasn't that easy for me, but I eventually would get caught up. Like, let's say I forgot to journal Monday, I had it at least written down by Wednesday night. So by the time we got back to the States, I finished writing every night. And that night in my room, I read a lot of Job. And I know it's extreme what happened to Job compared to me just losing my camera, but the scriptures really spoke to me. And every morning before we would go, when we were still in the hotel, we would have morning devotions. And the next morning I led it because I felt called to, because I already felt like I was being attacked. And so I did a little devotion on Job that morning. I don't have my Bible, but I'll look up the scriptures that I used. Job 121 is, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised. In all this, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing. Job had so much stuff going on with him. He was being attacked a lot more than any of us could ever say we've been attacked. Everyone that he knew, his whole family had died, and yet he still worshipped God and didn't let any of that, well, at the time, he didn't let any of that affect him, and he continued to worship God. And that just was like, it opened up my eyes and really set the tone for the whole trip, because a lot of the things we saw were really mind-blowing. And how can people just, they go into the church and just give it all to God no matter what the situation was for them outside. And then we would go to this really, really poor village. You'll see pictures of it. This poor village, there was kids running around, young as 2 years old, unsupervised, naked, just running around, playing. There was just, whenever we first pulled up, so we were going to build a house for this widow that was living in a shack. This is what she was living in. And whenever we first pulled up onto this, that's me right there. And whenever we first pulled up, there was, around in this area, I saw a pair of jeans on the ground. And the jeans were being used as a plate. The jeans had rice on them. And that's what they were eating the rice off of the pair of jeans on the ground. And it was just like, wow, I've never seen anything like that before. But this is the house that she was living in with her 5 kids for 3 years after her husband died. And this is us laying the bricks down for the new house that we were making for her. And so we would go to this village and we would work on the house. And a lot of the times there would be so many people working on the house that there wasn't enough for people to work on. So the girls would play with the little kids. One day the girls came and washed all the little girls' hair and gave them haircuts. But a lot of times me, my friend Brian, we'd go down and we'd play baseball with the kids all day long. We'd play in this dump in the end of the village. This was literally you can't really tell now, but this whole area, there's trash everywhere on the ground. Back here, there's trash. This trail leads to a cliff that is just all the way down the cliff. There's trash, old TVs, mattresses, just a landfill basically that we were playing baseball in. There was glass all over the ground and kids were wearing flip-flops, no shoes. But back here is just literally the trash. There's goats and cows walking through the field. just eating the trash too as they just walk along. But we played baseball there, and that's what they wanted to do. Early on the first day, it amazed me because they called my friend Brian Big Poppy. He's a baseball player from Dominican Republic. His nickname is Big Poppy. And I guess they noticed that in with him because he kept hitting home runs, and so they were like Big Poppy, like a baseball player. But for some reason, they wanted to call me Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
They have all the Scooby-Doo reruns, huh?
They have all the Scooby-Doo reruns, so they would call me Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, which at first I was like, why are they calling me this? But it became something like that they could relate. That's who they wanted to see every day was Big Poppy and Shaggy. That was their favorite. We were their favorites. And so we would play baseball with them. These little kids, younger than know about this tall, I swear I got struck out by them a couple times because they could throw different pitches like that I've never seen. They could throw curveballs, knuckleballs they were learning, and they were better than any little baseball players I've ever seen. And a lot of them, there was one kid that he was good at fielding, he could do everything. I could tell that the scouts would like him because he was on a team there. But something weird, going up to this village, we noticed that on one side of the road, on this dirt road that leads to the village, we have the village, and on the other side there's this beautiful baseball field gated in. It's a beautiful baseball field with freshly mowed grass, dugouts, bleachers. You could tell that the field had been tended to recently, and it was just crazy seeing the village on one side where people were living in shacks and not having clothes, and then a beautiful baseball field right here. This is where on the last day we actually got to play out there. But it was crazy. That's how much they value baseball. They would have trucks come in every week putting in new grass for the field. There was a pastor. We could go back to his house, and this is also in the village. That's the house a little bit later after we continued working on it. And we would go back to his house, and we'd eat lunch, and then we would go up to the church, and we'd have the VBS for the kids. And the kids were more well behaved than American kids, believe it or not. They would actually listen to what you were saying, they would be interested in what you were saying. But the kids were great, and this day 2 is the day that me and my partner Johnny led, and we did a puppet show behind this, and we were sitting like this with our hands, and it was a good 10, 15, 20 minutes that we were doing it, and it was killer. And in these places, in the pastor's house or this church that we were in, there's no AC anywhere, so it got extremely, extremely hot. I know I'm wearing long sleeves and I wore pants every day, but that was because of mosquitoes. But because every morning we would load ourselves with mosquito repellent, and because I wore long sleeves and pants, I didn't have to put on sunscreen, which is good for me because I would have gotten toasted. But it did get hot, but eventually you cool off. We would have tons of water with us whenever. And so we would throw these VBS for the kids. We'd do a craft. We might play a little baseball outside. They play baseball they'd get an empty bottle of water, fill it with rocks, put the cap back on, and then use a big stick as a baseball bat. They just love playing baseball. That's bigger. It was longer, I guess, but it wasn't really. It was about the same amount of people. And like I said, ministering is not what my call is. But PD, Pastor Dan asked me, he was like, would you feel comfortable leading a message tonight? And I was like, yeah. Because I felt in my mind I didn't come to say no to what I felt God was calling me to do. So it was my first time I ever preached. And I was awkward up there, but I got my point across, so I guess that's what really matters. After that we would go back to the hotel after the night services, or we'd go back to the pastor's house, eat dinner, then we'd go back to the hotel, and we would have a little testimony at the end of each day. what we liked about the day, personal testimonies of what stood out to us, something that we noticed. Yeah, it was just, okay, I'll go through what each picture is now. So this is at the village, talking to the kids, whatever. I'm mean mugging over here, I don't know what I'm mad about. The sun was probably in my eyes. And then this is the BBS. The drummer at that church was crazy good. And I don't know if it was a good thing or bad thing, but at night I was standing like right here, and so the drummer was playing in my ears. But it was a nice experience because of how good he was. And this is the village. We had to move a lot of these. I laid down a few of these. I laid down a good 20, 30 bricks. Another thing is that in these towns and villages and stuff, there's so many stray dogs and cats. I didn't expect it, but there was stray dogs everywhere. And these dogs, they're not really they're not pets. People don't like them. They're like rodents, or like they're annoying. They don't, because they're trying to feed themselves, and they don't care about these dogs. They're like raccoons. That's the only way I can describe it. They're like possums or raccoons. And so these little dogs were malnourished, and I could tell the dogs weren't as smart as dogs here, basically because they didn't get proper feeding or upbringing or whatever. And one of the days, I just saw one of the kids just kick one of these small dogs, and I was like, "Why'd you do that?" And they're like it was normal. They don't care about the dogs. They're not sensitive, I guess, to that kind of stuff. It was just crazy how many small dogs. Like, you wanted to pet them so bad because they were so cute, but they were dirty. I don't think they would bite. They were just dirty and timid. And
But he's the same group of kids that was always fighting, you said.
churches. But this village where we were doing the house, we would go back every single day. So those kids are who we really got connected with. And